Yo, 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 what is up? Just checking my levels here. Okay. All right. Welcome to another wonderful Nerdtaku stream. Um, I am super excited for what is to come from this stream. Um, because I did get spoiled on one small thing. I got spoiled on a name, um, which blows. Um, but here I am, and I also have a little bit of a theory I'm going to tease at the end of this chapter, depending on if this chapter that we're reading debunks it. Um, and then hopefully we can give our closing remarks and go from there. So, if you're just joining us, we are doing chapter 1137. Have not read it, spoiled on one name, but I'm ready to rock and roll. So, um, also, if you could like the stream, that would be awesome. Or like the TikTok live. Um, and I'm super excited that TikTok is still around and will hopefully stay around. It is my favorite platform, but I'm starting to enjoy YouTube a lot more, and we'll be doing a little bit more in the near future as far as like streaming games and doing more long form stuff. Um, so thank you so much for joining. Please like the stream, like the live, do all the good stuff. And let's jump into it. If you want to follow along down, I always get this wrong. Down here is where I'm reading the chapter, so you can kind of follow along. My logo's over it, so I don't get copyrighted. All right, let's rock and roll. All right, so we got Chapter 1137, Shamrock Takes the Stage. That's the name I was spoiled on, so this could get interesting. All right, so we scroll down and we see Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine pilgrimage infiltrating the mysterious hidden base. Last chapter, we saw that it was like whose head was like the shrine or the base that was hidden. And so this is them kind of looking in, and it looks like we see like three beast pirates or prior beast pirates. So very interesting to see here. I know that some people have a theory that Yamato is going to unite the beach pirates under her flag, sort of like how Odin did. Um, so that'll be interesting. I thought about it for a second and I said, like, what the fuck does Yamato have to do with the beach pirates? Like, they're not gonna unite under her, but she is Kaido's son per se, or Kaido's daughter. So I mean, I guess if they have loyalty to Kaido, this would make sense considering he's MIA. But I just don't know if I subscribe to that. But it would kind of make sense because then Odin, after he united the Scabbards, went out to sea. Um, and he joined his Whitebeard and then Roger. So it would be really interesting to see, and this may be, foreshadowing, if Yamato goes out to sea with somebody else and then joins Luffy's crew for his final voyage. Like, that would be a really interesting foreshadowing, kind of also her being able to play her part as Odin. Me personally, if she would go with anybody, low key, it would be funny if Katakuri and the Big Mom pirates came here searching for Big Mom and she joined Katakuri. Considering like they've said that they've done like depictions of Luffy sitting with and having sake with Katakuri. Because Katakuri, they're trying to imply that Katakuri is the Whitebeard of this era, um, which would also kind of make sense considering like Whitebeard was under rocks and then went out on his own and had his own pirate crew, but he also valued family above everything. So that's how Katakuri plays. So like it would be a very interesting duality there. So um let's get into the chapter. The home of the late king. So in the 14 years since King Harold's death, no one has come near this castle. It says Elbaufist, Elbafaust Castle. And it says, so what's going on here? The door looks like it's been busted open. What happened to the guards? Nami says, what? Something's wrong. It was broken from the inside. Why would intruders do that? Luffy says, only way to find out. Or only one way to find out. And he comes, running through and says, the key, where's the key? The damage looks recent. And then they're inside and says, wait, this unnerving. And it says, this place is huge. I can barely see the ceiling. This is way too vast to be walkable. And then Luffy says, hey, Roto, know where the key is? And Roto says, no, I'm just a run-of-the-mill guy. I've never been in here before. And Nami says, well, I'm glad you're here now. And it says, really, Nami Tazo? Agreed. Now get moving. Very interesting. So this is the castle that they beamed into, which this is part of like the thing that goes along with my theory. So could be pretty interesting here. Let's check it out. Wow, what a castle. Being here is thrilling and terrifying. Everything's falling to pieces. Is this the intruder's handiwork? It's just like Luffy running off and says, no, this battle damage has been here ever since Loki killed King Harold. Okay. Zoro says, this took some serious destructive power. Loki, and then Roto says, Loki is a monster, and King Harold was renowned as a great warrior. This damage was inevitable. And Luffy says, what? They're so big. And Nami says, huh? This is scary. Are they? And then it says, this place is covered with giant skeletons. The castle once had numerous guards. On that day, around 100 of them. It says, around 100 of them stood ready to kill Loki, but only one survived, the Lord Ja Rule. After that tragedy happened here, coming to this site was forbidden. And Roto says, it's a den for vengeful spirits. It says, hey, look, guys. Hey, guys, look over here. This skull is enormous. It also got horns. I wonder if he knew oars. It says, these belong to someone with ancient giant warrior blood. There are no longer any pure blood members of that clan, but their blood still flows in some of us. Like King Harold, who was larger and stronger than most. Very interesting. Which makes sense because some of them, like some of the giants, some of the giants definitely had like oars and even Kaido and stuff like that. So I wonder if Kaido was like a mix between like a human and a full ancient blooded giant or something, and he was labeled an Oni for that because he had horns. He was bigger but not giant. Um, and then Roto says, oh, look above you. How nostalgic. That's a portrait of King Harold, the man who tried to form peaceful bonds with the outside world, said to be Elbaf's strongest king. And someone said, he sure looks strong. It says, those scars on his head were mark where his ancient giant horns were before he ripped them out. Mm. It says he believed the ancient giants were relics from a war-torn era. And Luffy said he had horns. And Zoro said, "What conviction?" Okay. Okay. After the king's death, the country fell into despair. Sadly, the biggest grudge against Loki was naturally King Harold's other son, Harudin. And Luffy said, "Whoa, seriously?" And Nami said, "He's Loki's brother?" And Rhoda says, "They have different mothers. Before marrying the queen, Harudin was born to a different woman." Mm. However, Elbaf would never have recognized Harudin's mother as its queen in any case. And Nami said, "Why?" And it says, "She was born in a different giant country." What does that matter? They were both giants, right? Mm. Very interesting. Roto says, "They were both giants, but you can't talk when you humans kill each other all the time over land." And Zoro says, "I suppose." And Luffy says, "Wow. They say having children with a giant from another land taints the blood of Elbaf." Is it just me, or is that kind of a weird racy thing that that you would hear in America today? Um, but Nami says, "Seems giants can be just as bigoted as anyone else." Hmm. And it says, "Not everyone's as pure as you, Nami Tazo." And Nami says, "Don't suck up to me, trash." He's like, "Huh?" Okay, so that's super interesting. I wonder what other giant nation there is. And I wonder if it has something to do with like buccaneers or something like that, where they're like subsets of giants, or even Oni or something. But that wouldn't really make any sense because we don't Paradine doesn't have horns. So it could be a buccaneer thing. He does have a slight complexion, um, like darker complexion than like probably Roto and some of the other giants that are like kind of more pure blooded, I guess. Um, but yeah, very interesting why they wouldn't accept her. Just kind of very off. But I like that it says it. And it says, Zoro says, "Why join Harudin's crew if you think he has tainted blood?" And it says, "Well, you're such a creepy nerd, Roto." And you see Roto as a kid, and wah. And then Harudin grabs the map that he was drawing or something. He's like, "This is amazing. You can draw sea charts? You gotta show me how." And Rhoda was like, and then Harudin's like, "Let's be friends." And Rhoda's like, "Friends?" This is very interesting because this is kind of similar to how Nami was found out to be a navigator, when it was like, "Oh, you drew sea charts? That's so cool." And Roto says, "He was always so earnest and straightforward, unlike me. He never lived in the castle growing up. His father may have been king, but his mother was ostracized. He endured a lot and still said this: one day I'm going to unite all the giant tribes." It says, "I'm going to be king of the giants." And then looks like his crew's like, "Woo, I know you're the man that can do it, Harudin." And then Rhoda says, "I want to make his dream a reality." And Zoro says, "That kind of boring motivation is nothing new to me." And Nami says, "Ha ha ha." And then Luffy's like, "Hey, this way. I found some knocked out giants." Interesting. So now we come back to the realm of the dead. Okay, okay. It says, "Ah, do you finally understand?" Oh shit. Okay. That's Loki screaming, and then he's like all bloody and as like huff huff. This is only because I can't move from this spot. And then it's someone like the Shanks clone says the result would be the same even if you could. And Gunko says, "You commoner." It says, "We are offering you a chance at divinity. Most die squirming in vain." And she's got like her feet are like 10 times bigger. And like very see, this is so interesting because I saw it last time, but I was like, maybe, but now it's really looking like because she stomps down and an arrow comes out similar to emus that hit Sabo, and it came out and it came off of her foot. And what's really interesting is it comes off of her foot here, but then her foot is down, and the arrow looks like it's coming out of the darkness, and then it's just like headed straight for Loki. And it says, "Crap, this again." And it like crosses at a weird angle. And then it says, "So you're gonna let loose a full speed kick to the right side of my face. Huff. It'll turn me sideways." And she's got like a gauntlet on, like an infinity gauntlet or something. And it says, "Then you'll uppercut me. Thanks for giving me notice." And she says, "These arrows show the trajectory of my future. The outcome is unavoidable. Only I can stop it before it happens." Interesting. Very interesting. And then it says, "Just say the word, Loki. Will you join the Gods Knights?" And he like ponders for a second and says, "Refuse, I refuse, you fool." And then it's like he like notices that she's moving. She kicks him in the face the way the arrow is going. And then she flips around and her fist gets big and she just uppercuts the shit out of him. Holy. Yo, what's up? What is up, Ebenezer? 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 Um, yo, so this is crazy. And like the way that the fist is like riding along, and same with the foot for uppercutting in that, he just gets hit and then his head comes down. And the bears are like snarling, and he like hacks up like blood, and he's like huff huff huff. And then he says, Loki says, "Damn it, you'll pay for this." And then someone says, "Stop, enough already." And Junko says, "Well, will you become," or no, Loki says, "Stop, enough already." Um, and Gunko says, "Well, will you become a God's Knight?" Loki is him. Yeah, definitely. I'm telling you, Loki is gonna be pivotal. Um, and I got it right the first time. Sweet. Um, and then he says, "Bleh," and he just yells out, "Wah!" And the Shanks clone over here is just like sitting with a sword that looks oddly like Shanks' sword. And Gunko says, "Huff." And he says, "It's all right, Gunko. Okay, here we go. Let's change our tact contra our tact. Contact Mary Joie." Fagarling Shamrock, son of Elder Fagarling Garling, captain of the Gods Knights, world noble. And it says Gunko, arrow fruit. Very interesting. And Shamrock says, not every piece ends up being useful. I wanted to go about this more shrewdly, but I guess not. Gunko says, not yielding even if it means death. Do we chalk this up to faith? And it says, long ago, the savage warriors of Elbaf dominated the New World. The government will bring them to heel no matter what. God's Knights have mobilized. Yo, the fact that we finally see the face without the star and he has both hands. Like, this is all the confirmation we need. And it's confirmed it's Garling's son. Yo, this is so good. This is insane. Hold on. I see no break week. Let's fucking go. Okay. This adds to my theory so much. It's crazy. Okay. So let's talk about the theory. All right. So keep game. All right. I'm going to bring it up in my notes because I literally did this to fucking write it all down. Okay. This theory is called King Harold the Evil. So what if King Harold was actually the evil one? Okay. So we get confirmation in this chapter he had Oni, like he had ancient giant blood in his veins. He ripped off his horns. But what if he ripped them off because he wanted to look more normal enough to be considered to be a celestial dragon by the world government? Hear me out. So, one thing that has always struck me really weird, especially now that we're in Elbath and I'm rewatching Whole Cake Island with my wife, we saw the whole interaction where Big Mom killed one of the village leaders and set fire to the whole village that she was in and was rampaging. But yet for some reason King Harold wanted to actually make a political marriage with her and basically sell off Loki to her. And for what? It was, to me, for power and the ability to eh, use her as a pawn. All right. So he was originally going to be betrayed by King Harold, most likely, or he was going to use her to become part of the world government or any of the other things. But it didn't work out, right? Loki was turned away by Lola. This resulted in Loki feeling some type of way, but it goes deeper than that. So last chapter, we learned that Loki was born and his mom was dead like a year or something after, or in the same month as the other, as the village elder. I think the mom found out something bad about King Harold, and the reason he died was because he killed her, because she was going to interfere with his plan. So then what was his big motivation and what has he done in order to basically prove to me that he's trying to sell off the whole country? He stopped having the giants become pirates or learn fighting or anything. He literally made them weaker by being like, hey, we don't teach fighting anymore. We don't do any of this stuff. You all become scholars. And that's why all the kids are basically useless, except for Colin, because Colin still practices the old ways. So literally, there is no giants that are going to be old enough to step up soon. The rest of them are in the onset of old age, and the youngest ones and the ones that are probably the most promising literally have no reason to become stronger because they're all focusing on being scholars. They're in the library learning. So he's purposely making his country weaker after being like just like Shamrock has now said long ago, the savage warriors of Elbaf dominated the new world. So he reeled them in. Why would he reel them in? Well, to make them weaker, but not only that, show to the world government, who also likes to have a dominant presence in the new world, like, hey, I'm for you guys. So then he started opening up trade with other islands. So now he's starting to become more a part affiliated with other countries, right? And he's starting trade. He's making his giants weaker. He's making, people are being nicer to giants, blah, 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 blah. Not just that, Mother Carmel saved giants, could have possibly been the avenue in which Harold learned of the world government and how they work, and even arranged meetings with some of the world government affiliates through Mother Carmel. Mother Carmel died and he lost his connection, but there was probably one person that he was able to come in contact with. And I think it might have been St. Figurlin Garland. And so he did all of this to make it so that he could become Elbaf could become affiliated with the government, so that he could become a king and possibly that is seen in the eyes of the world government and possibly ascend to that world government status. Or there's a second darker reason. Right now, what we know is that 30 some years ago, I want to say it is now sitting at 38 and maybe even a half, there were hunts that celestial dragons, gods, knights, and all the others took part in. Those hunts were with non government affiliated islands, which Elbaf is not affiliated. And we know that because that happened at God Valley, which was like 38 years ago. And they said that the hunts happen every 3 years, meaning that a hunt would not have taken place at all in the story because so far the story has only been like 2.5 years. 36 years ago, um, would have, or 36 years from God Valley would have been the start of the series, which means we wouldn't have known of any rabbit hunt that they would have taken place like before then. So then we get to now, and it's almost been 3 years since the start of the original story, which means that there is another hunt that is possibly happening. And with the God's Knight showing up here trying to get Loki to become a God Knight, could mean that this is the next island that the hunts are going to take place at. And this could be what King Harold was trying to do: weaken his population because of the fact that they are much stronger than normal humans and celestial dragons, except for like God's Knights and stuff like that, and make them vulnerable enough for them to hunt big game. Like that's literally something that celestial dragons would do. They love very novel things like mermaids and shit like that and little people. Like, this could be the start of what will become the One Piece World War that we have been knowing is coming one day, that Oda has told us he wants to draw the biggest war in shonen. This could be the start. It all starts with the hunt that happens on Elbaf. Now, This could have been him saying, I offer up my whole country to be part of the hunt, but you have to wait a few years while I make them weaker so that you guys can have a fun hunt. And as long as you do that and you guys make me a celestial dragon, I'm cool with it. Loki overhears this plot and he kills his dad because of it. But then the whole world of Elbaf turns against him because King Harold is beloved, even though he's actually evil. They attack Loki and they mess him up, but not before he messes up a lot of them. And that makes it even more crazy because the fact that if Loki killed a bunch of the actual giants that are capable, then it's playing even more into the celestial dragon's hands. Then you have Loki go out to sea. Shanks finds out that King Harold, his friend, was killed by Loki and puts him in his place and brings him back to Elbaf and they tie him up in the underworld. Before that, there's one other small little teensy bit that I want to talk about is when we find out that he's engaged to Lola, they talk about Loki as if he is the kindest and smartest, like young prince that has ever been. But in this, we're painted a picture that he is the savage. In fact, he often frequents the underworld. And so what does he do? He frequents the underworld because even Yorul Yarul said last time most people, most humans come to the island and they flee the island because they go to the underworld first, never make it to the Sun Village. Where is he located and where did he spend most of his time? The underworld. He was making sure that he was pushing humans away so that none of them could come and see that that the giants have gotten weaker to be able to come here and reap what King Harold sowed. So it it could be, I mean, even Gunko said last chapter, he said, every time we've sent people here, they never come back. Why do you think that is? Oh, well, even though Loki's tied up down there, he has the beast that he made friends with as a kid kill the humans and make it so that they can't figure out that the giants have actually gotten weaker. So, um, let me see. Loki learned the truth of his father because he killed his mother and overheard the plot. It drove Loki to madness. Um, and they drove him out of Elbaf, blah, blah, blah. Um, so, this all to say, I think that there is no way that Loki isn't a good guy. I think that he is a misunderstood, kind soul that did what he had to do to try and save the home in which he probably loved so much. And he will continue to do that, but he's gotten disillusioned with the whole system, obviously, because of what he was put through. And on top of that, he believes that the only way to make things right is to burn it all to the ground, basically. So, and I think that that's where the Nika thing comes in from last chapter. We have someone who is trying to become or saying that they are the sun god and they want to destroy because destroying also means liberating. I think Loki wants to destroy the norms of the Elbaf country and build them back up to where they should be. You should be free to do what you want. You should be free to be who you want to be. You should be free to have a family with whoever you want to. Like, there are so many things in which destruction, liberation mean the same thing, but you can go there different ways. So, um, so Ebenezer said, so how do you think they crafted the prophecy? I think how it was crafted, it wanted Loki to be like this. Yeah. I mean, how else do you know, try and make it so that Loki is far enough away from your dirty dealings, then create a prophecy in which he's supposed to kill you, and then also, trying to put him further and further away from the thing. He spends all his time in the underworld, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Miguel says, almost been long enough. The revolutionaries destroyed their food reserves, and giants aren't militant anymore. They'll need to do something to solve all those problems at once. Yeah, and taking over Elbaf would do it. Or having a hunt there and killing all of the people and then taking all they have, that'd do it. Okay, maybe Loki rampaged like that to keep the reputation of the giants and scare the world government, not invade. Which again, if he went out to sea and has a bounty of what is it, like 2 billion or something, and it's a special bounty, it could be because one, he ruined the deal that the world government had with King Harold, but not only that, he was also destroying military vessels, navy vessels solely based upon the fact, or world government vessels solely based upon the fact that they wanted to make sure that no celestial dragons came there or did anything, or world government. You know, there could have easily been, they sent, you know, some celestial dragons or something like that, and Loki could have killed them. That's why when he saw these guys, the Holy Knights, and was like, "Oh fuck, like you're celestial dragons. You think I want to become scum like you?" He could have had a run-in with them prior. So, very interesting. But I do believe that we will find out that Loki had nothing to do with it and King Harold was actually the evil one. I think Loki probably did kill King Harold, but he did it from necessity, not because he wanted to actually kill his father and take the fruit. I think he killed his father and took the fruit because he wanted to protect Elbaf. And what that fruit is, I'm not quite sure. Um, the broker has a really good theory that um it is a devil fruit in which you can copy any Zoan fruit's appearance and abilities. And so, if that's true, he could look like Nika in all white and stuff like that, but he just doesn't have the actual fruit. He's just a cheap imitation, if you will, which would play into Loki's actual myth, where he's the trickster that can morph and shapeshift into anything. It would be a little bit more neat, but I think that would be a really cool fruit for Loki to have. Um, Plus, we've already seen that people can copy Nika's ability with their devil fruit because Bonnie did it literally last arc. Um, how is Dragon gonna play into this conflict? I really don't know. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know if Dragon plays a factor in this arc. I just I don't know where he could insert himself that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like this is very much a Yonko, an Emperor doing their thing, and I don't know if I see an avenue in which revolutionaries play a part. The only thing that I see, if this thing happens, if I am correct about my theory that the hunt is taking place on Elbaf, then it could be possible that while Dragon, Karasu, or while Sabo and all them were doing that raid on Marijwa, if they found out that the hunt was being planned on Elbaf for this year, it could be that Dragon and some of the revolutionaries come to Elbaf to stop the hunt. And um it would be very, very interesting um to see something like that, like Dragon gets intel or found out during the reverie that this hunt was taking place on this non-government affiliated island, Elbaf or whatever. And so after they all got together they heard Vegapunk's message or whatever. They're like, we need to act and we need to stop this hunt from happening, And so the god, they hear that the God's Knights are finally moving. Dragon says the God Knights are going to be in Elbath participating in this hunt. We need to mobilize there. Like this could be the tipping point in which that happens. Now, that's that'd be crazy. It would be cool. I mean, listen, I'm all for Dragon hype because the motherfucker doesn't do anything. So like we need that hype because he deserves some type of hype, but he just isn't giving us any reason to be hype. You hear? Like, so I don't know. Um, okay, copy fruit. I like it, but this kind of fruit can be classified as mythical. It could be mythical. I'm sure there's like a shape shifting myth or something like that that you could classify it as. I mean, it could even be like a special paramecia fruit, because Bon Clay has the what clone fruit, where if he touches you, he can go like this and change his face and his body and everything like that. So maybe this is more or less down that line where it's like maybe it's something like, oh, you hear about a myth or you see a picture of a myth and you can copy that myth or something like that, like the mythological form, if there is a Zoan form of it, which could be the only reason why Loki thinks he's the sun god, is because they have the myth of the sun god, and that's the only one that Loki has been turning into. He doesn't know that he can turn into a phoenix or a griffin or anything of the sort, you know. So it could be very, very, very interesting. Um, but no, that is where my theory is at. Um, I think that it has a lot of plausibility. So I'm really hoping it comes true. But overall, this chapter has been really great. I'm so ready, and I mean so ready for us to finally get a the Straw Hats showing up to see Loki getting the shit kicked out of him and Luffy freeing him and them take on the Gods Knights together. Like that would be so fucking cool. Um so I'm very interested in this. So them finding out that someone was already in the castle is very interesting. Um, because I wonder if they took the key from the castle when they teleported in to release Loki, or if the key's actually still there. Finding out a little bit more about Harudin was really cool. And then also finding out about Harold. Harold to me looks like the villain. I don't know. Another thing that I find very interesting. Never mind. I was like, it looks like he's got Kaido's fucking tattoos. Now he kind of looks like Kaido though, a little bit low key. But the fact that he ripped off his own horns is pretty crazy. Um, but again, I don't know if that's true or not. Um, the discrimination between giants is pretty crazy that they do that. Um, but I mean, it's no different than other things. But I do like how Harudin's like, I'm gonna be king of the giants, and it just kind of rolls off the tongue like king of the pirates, like how Luffy always does. And his crew believes in him, like they believe in Luffy. Gunko's fruit being the arrow fruit and the way it is versatile, the way she's using it, and how she's beating the shit out of Loki, and yet he is not yielding. I would put money on it, and I mean a lot of money, that Loki is a conqueror. This is a conqueror move. Never, taking the L on this. Um, I love the versatility of her fruit. It's very interesting how she's using it. Um, the fact that all the animals that we saw have like arrows through them and they're just like stuck. It's cool. Um, And so, yeah, Loki just getting his shit kicked in um is kind of cool because like you get to see he's just like not with it. But Shamrock is a very interesting person because it's like Gunko's getting worn out just beating the shit out of this dude and he is not yielding. Um I do like the way that I mean Shamrock just looks tough. The way that his sword and stuff like that, I'm very interested to see what his sword is because it kind of looks like Ace. It kind of looks like Roger's sword. If that's Roger's sword, I'm gonna fucking freak out. Um, let me look it up. I mean, it's I would need to see the actual maybe. Maybe not. The way that I don't know. It's hard to see from the angles, but so Gunko ability, I think it's emus. Yeah, I mean the way it acts, it's kind of like emus. I don't know why people don't like the name Shamrock. I mean, he like Shanks is a very like Irish ish name, you know, and Shamrock you can't get much more Irish than that. Um, so I don't mind that. I mean, Stabs was funny, don't get me wrong, but it's not like you know the end all be all type deal. You heard? Um, but yeah, I like. I hope that's not Roger's sword. I'll cry. Um, but yeah, so I really like the design. The design and the fit is tough, and this the fact that he's wearing this like black hood and everything makes me think that this is the guy that talked about Shanks to the Gorosei. Yeah, Stabs was funny. Yeah, yeah, this guy looks fucking tough. Yeah, this just kind of cements it for me though that Shanks is Fagarland's son as well. This guy actually kind of looks a little bit younger than Shanks, maybe. So, do you think Shanks have like another name, a real name? No, because I think for Garland Shanks, and for Garland Shamrock, are close enough. He looks majestic. Yeah, the motherfucker looks majestic. All right, that is for sure. I'm very interested to say, let's change our tact. Contact Marie Joie. Not every piece ends up being useful. I wanted to go about this more shrewdly, but I guess not. It says, not yielding, even if it means death. Do we chalk this up to faith? Long ago, savage warriors of Elbath dominated the New World. The government will bring them to heel no matter what. Exactly. Yeah, most likely Shanks can rock his brother. They trained very differently. As I said before, Loki's really starting to feel like future crew member vibes, at least companion slash friend. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Loki joins. Yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, so far I've loved the character designs in Elbaf. The only thing that's a little weird is like Gunko's design with like not having pants. That's a very interesting choice, but I guess they wanted to highlight her like hands and her legs, so that was the way they decided to do it. But yeah, I like Loki a lot. Loki to me gives like super badass fucking vibes, and he's just he looks cool. I'm very interested to see if he actually like has the bandages on his eyes for a reason, or if he's blind, or what's going on with that. But if he removes them, maybe he won't look as cool. I don't know. That's a tough call. But yeah, Loki just looks fucking cool as shit. I like Loki's design. So, um, but I really hope that we're able to get something next chapter. Like usually Oda's good for 3 chapters and then a break week. Um, so we could possibly see that next chapter ends on a crazy cliffhanger. Most likely, if I was a betting man, I'd put money down on the fact that we are going to get um like Luffy and the crew showing up and seeing Loki getting beaten by Shamrock and Gunko, and him lose his shit because he looks like Shanks and all that, and goes fucking banana ham sandwich on it. Um, but yeah, he definitely like Loki is such a fucking cool designed character in One Piece. Like I really like his design. When they showed the silhouette, which like Oda is so well known for fucking doing wild silhouettes, and then turning around and the character looks completely different. Kind of like Kaido and Big Mom in there originally, and Loki now, and all these others. So I'm super down to see how this plays out. This is going to be a really good arc. It's already so good just from the few chapters that we've got of it. And I think that next chapter is going to be a banger. um, but overall, this chapter to me, this chapter is sitting at like a 9. Like everything was so cool. The King Harold reveal, them telling the story of what happened, and that's why there's all these skulls and shit in the castle. Um, which I don't really believe that Loki killed all those people per se. It's possible, but I also believe that there was somebody else in the castle that was making those deals with King Harold, and that's why. Uh, and when Loki started rampaging, shit kind of went sideways. The whole backstory was super good. Gunko and Loki just going at it basically. But then on top of that, just the Shamrock reveal and like fit is just tough. It's tough. So I'm loving it. So it's definitely like a 9 for me. Mm, there's not many plot setups, so Oda can do anything. Yeah, exactly. This is just busted wide open. Um, so I'm excited for this. Next chapter is probably going to be fucking awesome. I'm gonna see if I can get some other content creators and people to review this next chapter with me, so that way we can get a little bit more. We can theory craft a little bit more and just enjoy our time. So, but that is all I have for you today. Hopefully, you guys are having an awesome weekend. I am. I definitely am. And I'm ready to relax, play some Marvel Rivals, and chill out for the rest of the day. But yeah, I'm super that I'm super excited to I'm gonna try and like I said, I want to get a few more people on stream for next chapter, because it's gonna be a fucking banger most likely, because Oda loves doing 3 chapters and he loved ending the 3rd chapter right before we go on a break on some fucking crazy cliffhanger, crazy shit. So super excited. But but yeah, man, so thank you guys so much for coming through. Please like the stream if you haven't already. um And if you're watching this later, please leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts on this chapter. Um, Tell me your theories. And we will be right back here next weekend with an 11:38, and it's gonna be a good one. Um, Ebenezer said, I'm getting close to getting caught up on Black Clover. Yeah, dude. There 2 new chapters came out. I didn't even know. And apparently they're great. So I need to do a live stream for those with the Chestnut Tanuki because she's my Black Clover buddy. Um, and we'll definitely set that up, and then you can go back and check those out when you get caught up. But thank you guys so much for coming through. It's always appreciated. Remember to like the stream, follow, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and over on the TikTok. um and we'll be back here again next weekend. Thank you so much, Jana.